Hey everyone.
Welcome back to the pod. As always, hope you're doing well.
I feel like I stole your line.
Kinda, but it's fine. I'll let you have it this time.
We're nothing if not consistent.
My brain's like, wait, I was supposed to
That's
say
my
that.
line. One day we'll start where you say hello and then I'll say, hey everyone, welcome back to the pod. And then it'll freak everyone out. They'll be like, wait, I thought that was Jess's voice.
I thought that went the other way. I'm currently staring at the snow, so we don't get that. But oh no, I'll save that for my win. What's your win?
Well, I was just gonna say in my like old lady way, well, we need the moisture.
We do. You're not.
As I'm wearing like my old lady cardigan.
We need the snow, but it's just like crazy to me that it was 15 degrees on Monday and now it's snowing. But like, welcome to Alberta. It happens every year.
I know. And can I just say that like solidarity to the parents out there of toddlers who don't understand weather changes, because we were in like running shoes and like, you know, splash pants or like whatever on Monday playing in puddles.
Then you're like, get your tooth out.
Today, I'm like, you need to wear your snow pants. And she's like, I don't want to wear my snow pants. And I'm like, well, but here's the thing. And I don't know if you've ever tried to reason with a 2-year-old. It doesn't go well. So luckily, I am a big fan of natural consequences.
You're like, fine, don't worry.
Sometimes I just let it happen. And then she shows up and she's like, my hands are cold. And I'm like, oh, well, conveniently, I have your mittens in my pocket. Here you go.
Would we like to reconsider?
I was right. Anyways, yeah, it's a fun game you can play with yourself as a parent because you're like, I win, you lose, but they don't really know. So anyways, do you have a win? You just said you had one.
I do. I'm going skiing.
When?
I haven't been skiing at all.
I'm going skiing.
And that's my win because if you probably know, I've talked about it a couple times on the pod. I bought myself a birthday present in August of a new pair of ski boots, and they have yet to see the light of day this winter, which is very sad because they're actually like really bougie, like probably too fancy for my level of skiing, but they were also very on sale and they perfectly match my snowsuit. So we had to buy them.
So that's winning.
Pardon?
I said, so that's winning.
Yeah. So they got bought way back in August. And then my dad asked me this week, he said, do you want to go skiing? And I said, yeah. So we're going on April 5th. We're going to Jasper for just going to ski a day, but that's a win because I didn't think I was skiing at all this winter. I had just accepted that it wasn't happening. So we're going to ski one time and one time only this year.
Nice. My win is that I'm spearheading a family project, a family photo project.
Okay.
Of my dad's siblings. That's that basically thing. Anyways, and I have successfully gotten all of them, four of them, 4 boomers, and I know one of them might listen to this, to successfully use Google Photos to collect a group of photos, even though not all of them use Gmail and not all of them were on board, but I made a very clear email with step-by-step instructions, and now some of them believe that Google Photos is the best thing that's ever happened to them. And if you've ever tried to help your parents with technology, yeah, it's a time, right? And I feel like it's so weird because I literally use Google for everything. Like my whole business is stored in the Google Drive. So it just doesn't seem like a big deal to me. And then they're like, wait, we can all view this album and like print pictures and like whatever and like make comments. And I'm like, yeah, like it's like a thing. And yeah. And then my aunt, who may or may not listen to this podcast, if you do, hey, she said, what other kinds of sorcery could you teach me?
You're like, yeah.
And I was like, I think I need your children's permission to teach you any other kinds of sorcery because I don't want to give you too much power in the technology world.
Yeah, it's scary giving them too much power.
Right? Right? I know. So yeah, it's just funny how sometimes you're like, okay, so Google Photos, it's a thing and it's awesome. And they're like,
your mind is
no, I'm going to resist. I'm going to resist. And then they're like, wait a second. This is actually pretty great.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
We are talking today about protein, one of our favorite topics.
Yeah.
Talk about one of, probably I would speak for both of us when I say the number one thing we probably talk about with most clients is
it's my favorite macro
around protein. I had a question come through when I put up a question box a couple weeks ago. So if you didn't know, on Instagram I do like an anonymous or non-anonymous question box, but it's literally free coaching, just like the podcast. Crazy.
And I just say that sometimes the anonymous ones are like unhinged.
My anonymous ones are always just like somebody asked me if 33 was out of my dating range the other day, and I said, guys,
I saw that and I was like,
or maybe girl, I don't know, but like I was like, this has nothing to do with what I do for work, but that's my all answered anyways.
Yeah. Or people will be like, we should hang out more, and you're like, yeah, but this is anonymous, so like I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, so I'm not going to commit to a yes because I don't know who you are. So but I did have a question come through talking about protein. So we're going to give you guys each of our like top 3 tips on how to increase protein, because I feel like that is everybody's struggle when it comes to nutrition. The question was, I find 100 grams of protein so hard. I can get up to 70 with effort, but 150 seems so difficult, especially being full. Any tips? I'm going to start this by saying it with all the love I have. 100 grams of protein should be the absolute bare minimum. If you are tracking protein and you are an active human, there's no reason our protein should ever be lower than 100. I would say 100 is arguably still too low, but if we have to set like a absolute minimum, no adult human should be eating less than 100 grams of protein a day.
Yeah, and I think so. My first tip is, if you're truly not sure, it's okay to start by just tracking protein, even if tracking your food is triggering for you, which for a lot of my clients coming from some unhealthy habits, yes, it can be very triggering. But there is an app, and I know I'm going to get the name wrong, Protein Pal, Protein Plus, something like that. It only tracks protein. It is a paid thing, but you can get a 7-day free trial. And what better way to give you a snapshot of how much protein you're getting by tracking it for 7 days and seeing how we do. I've had a couple clients do this, and it's been really eye-opening. So start by getting an actual picture of how much protein you're eating. Be honest with yourself in what you're eating.
Yeah, because most of the time we undershoot. And I mean that by like, we think we're getting enough protein. We're not. Then we track it out and we're like, oh shit, I eat 300 grams of carbs and 62 grams of protein. Like, that would be crazy macros, but probably possible. So if you have
There's probably something that exists.
Yeah, like if you have no idea where your protein is at, track it. And any clients that start with me have to keep a 7-day food log, tracked or not tracked, so that I can see where protein intake is at.
Yeah, even just for a few days. It can be huge. And then I will say the first thing that I get people to do when we're talking about nutrition, whether we're doing the my nutrition program or otherwise, is I need a food journal from you. I need to know what you're eating, because it would be outside of my integrity to give you advice without knowing what's going on.
Yeah. And I am the same way. It can be written or tracked, doesn't make a difference to me. Fun fact, if you work with me and you keep a written food log, I'm tracking your macros in my head, but that's just because I can do that because I stare at people's macros all day, every day.
This is the theme, because you're a robot.
Yeah, because I just accidentally count everyone's macros. My old roommate used to get so mad at me because she would come home from work being like, I'm so hungry. And then I'd be like, hey, what'd you eat today? And then she would give me the rundown. And I'd be like, cool, you ate 60 grams of protein, maybe. And she'd be like, I hate when you do that. And I'm like, well,
this is what happens when people are friends with like a psychologist.
Yeah.
And you're like you're therapisting me, aren't you? Yeah. And you're like,
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I tracked your macros by accident.
I'm sorry. I can't turn it off.
Yeah. So I agree. Start with some sort of food log, preferably if you can, like weigh or measure to some extent just to get a better idea. But if that's too stressful for you, just keep a written food log with any measurements you might know. So yeah, keep a food log. When it comes to increasing protein, get a protein powder. And I know somebody's going to be like, that's your first tip. Yeah, because it's also the easiest way to increase protein.
A serving is like minimum 20 to 25 grams, right? So
we'll talk about
that's an easy way to just
we'll talk about food, like whole food ways to increase protein too. But get a protein powder you like. If you're talking specifically to this person, you can get to 70 with effort, which I think is important to note, that it's not just I naturally get to 70 grams of protein. We're still having to focus on that. Get a protein powder. That puts you right at 100, just adding in a protein. Get one you like. You can drink it by itself. You can put it in a smoothie. You can put it in oats. You can put it in Greek yogurt. You can put it in friggin' banana bread. I don't know. Go to my TikTok and count how many ways you can put protein powder into things, and have a scoop of protein at some point in your day every single day. That's a quick 25 to 30 grams more of protein with literally the least amount of effort you could think of.
Yeah. I think people who hate on protein powder have just been misinformed, or they're stuck in a protein powder that they hate and they think that they're all created the same. And if you've listened to us for any period of time, we both work with nutrition companies that have great tasting protein powders and ones that are ethically sourced ingredients and without fillers and gross things. So this isn't about that though. My next thing would be to make sure that you're getting a protein source at every main meal and most, if not all, of your snacks. And when I say a protein source, I don't mean peanut butter on your toast.
Or trail mix.
Or trail mix. I'm sorry. Peanut butter is not a protein source. It is a fat. We consider protein or peanut butter a fat. It does have some protein in it, but it is not a protein source.
No, it is a food with protein. It's the same thing I say that about bagels and toast. Yeah, they have protein in it, but that's a carb, not a protein.
So whether that means adding something to usually I feel like breakfast is hard for people because if you're not, or they think they have to make eggs. No, we've already talked about this. Eggs, not a great source of a large amount of protein unless you're adding egg whites to your scrambled eggs. Thanks, Jill, for the hot tip on that one.
I got
you. But you can also have Greek yogurt. You can have a smoothie with protein powder. You can do protein in your oats. If you regularly have oatmeal, add a scoop of protein powder. If it's vanilla flavored, you probably won't notice a difference.
You could make my protein bagels.
I have made protein bagels a few times. I do notice it makes a big difference, even though I have breakfast sausages almost every day. When you have protein, when you start the day off with protein, you will find you probably won't get snacky at 10:30.
Yeah, and I would agree that most people are missing protein in their breakfast. And if we're adding 20, 25 grams of protein to our breakfast, that also makes a huge difference in your day. If your breakfast is a piece of toast and a cup of coffee, that's why you're not hitting your protein goal. We got to switch up that breakfast a little bit. Some people even do a protein shake in their coffee, whether it's a Fairlife shake or a premium protein or your own protein powder, making an iced or hot coffee with protein in it is helpful. I would agree that breakfast gets missed a lot. And if you need an easy way to track your protein without weighing your food, look at the palm of your hand. That should be about a serving of protein.
Oh, everyone's is it going to tell me how much?
You're do I, know something I don't?
Some sort of sorcery with my hand.
That's just an easy reference. If you're do I have a serving of protein with this meal? It should be about the palm of your hand. Some are going to look different. I have little hands. A man has
big hands for a lady.
A man has bigger hands. So it's give or take, but it's a quick little like,
Ish.
do I have a source of protein with this meal? Is it about the size of the palm of my hand?
Yeah.
No, I need to add more.
And,
yes. Great.
And it can be something as simple as like, let's say you always have a salad for lunch. Are you having chicken or something with your salad? Like that, if you're not, why not?
Yep.
And this is, I do find it tricky. It's not my niche or my preference for any like vegetarian or vegans. I know it can be a little trickier, but there are lots of great vegan protein sources out there. So yeah, it's just not really I can look it up. It's just not really my forte.
Yep. If you need some vegan protein options, I got you. Yeah, palm of your hand. What else was I going to say? Oh yeah, switch your meat choices. If you do eat meat, switch up some of your meat choices. Like if you primarily eat like red meat and pork, switch up some things for chicken or turkey. They're a leaner protein. They're going to be lower fat, higher protein, and those little subs can make a huge difference. Like for me, the easiest switch is going to like a turkey or a ham pepperoni stick rather than like a beef pepperoni stick. Like I just cut the fat in probably half and added 3 to 5 grams of protein, which I know that seems like a little amount, but like if you're grabbing 2 or 3 pepperoni sticks every time you need a snack, that's a quick like 15, 20 grams of protein right there. So make the subs for like, pork and beef, sub out a few of those for a leaner protein, chicken, turkey, fish, and you're going to get more protein, less fat in your day.
And I guess like my last one would be bring the protein to the front of your mind. So whether that's putting a note on your fridge or on your phone or some sort of alarm, something like that, that is just like protein ? And like have it remind you when you're standing in front of your pantry and you're like, I'm feeling snacky. Are you choosing something that has a protein source? Or if you're like, I'm going to have some crackers, what can you have a couple pepperoni sticks while you're standing there at your fridge? Because honestly, that's what happens with me. I open the fridge and I'm like, you know what? I don't really know what I want, but in the meantime, I'm going to have a pepperoni stick while I think about it. And that is like over time, like you just said, it doesn't seem like a lot, but cumulatively it does add up. They do all add up. And there are things you can do, like you can get, if you're using coffee creamer, you can get coffee creamer that's added protein or like almond milk with protein in it. You can buy things that have extra protein. Some of them are not going to be super great. Also, if you're buying something like, I know like things like the, it's like a Snickers bar, like a protein Snickers, like, okay, you might get some grams of protein, but like it's still a chocolate bar. So let's be real and honest with ourselves about some of this stuff. But having a protein bar in your purse for like emergencies, not always a bad thing, right? You're like, hey, I've got something. It does have some protein in it. It means that I'm probably not going to like go looking for like jelly beans that are on the receptionist desk or something like that when you're at work. Knowing that you have something with you that is a protein source that is kind of portable. You know how many half protein bars I end up with because I'm like, I just need a couple bites and then I end up putting it away and I forget about it. That kind of stuff, while yes, it is essentially just a chocolate bar with protein in it, it can help. And it does get you closer to your protein goal.
Yeah, use those convenience foods when you want to. Pre-made protein shakes, Fairlife's, Premier, what else we got? I don't know. Don't buy the ones from the gas station. I had one the other day. It was terrible.
We would never say like, we would never advise you to like build a diet out of those things. But
like use them when you need to. And like if that's the difference between you hitting your protein goal and not, I don't care. I say that to clients all the time. Like there's days where I'll have a smoothie with a scoop of protein and a Fairlife shake. Oh my God, I don't care. It's the difference between hitting my protein and not. So find the foods that work for you. Yes, focus on whole foods when you can. But like I said, like if you're only hitting like 70 grams of protein in a day, use some of those convenience foods to help bump you. That's going to get you over 100. And then we can go from there. A shameless plug, if you need high protein recipe ideas, that is my entire TikTok. So if you're like, I don't know where to start, I don't know how to start subbing things to make it higher protein, go to my TikTok, scroll for 10 minutes, and you'll probably find at least like 20 recipes you can sub out for things you're already doing. If you need custom support with your nutrition, both Jess and I would love to help with that. If you reach out to one of us and we're like, you know what, the other one's a better fit, we will happily do that. But even working with a coach for a few months to just get a better understanding, a better idea of your current nutrition, get some ideas, offload some of that brain work to be like, you figure out how I get more protein in my diet, might be helpful. And then you can kind of take it and run with it from there.
And let's just quickly recap the benefits of having an adequate amount of protein, in case we haven't convinced you already. You're going to have better muscle recovery, which is going to make you be able to lift heavier, go to the workout more often, run farther, run faster, be injured less. Your cravings are probably going to go down for other things that you deem less desirable in your diet. It's going to help you stay fuller longer. Am I missing anything?
If fat loss is a goal, it's going to make that easier because playing into muscle burns more calories, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, hunger, energy, recovery, metabolism. I don't know. Just like eat some freaking
There's really no downfall to getting enough protein, but there's definitely downfall to not getting enough protein.
And before somebody is like, oh my God, what if I eat too much? Good luck. I say that with love. Good luck eating too much protein in a day.
I mean, we can compare the writer of this question for getting 70 but struggling to get 100. Jill, what's your current protein goal?
160. I think yesterday I was 157.
Right.
Careful.
Now, let's clarify that Jill didn't start from 100 and just jump to 160 in a day. You probably will have to build up to something like that. However, I also think that 100 is pretty doable. It should be. I feel like, I don't know if this is the right language, but I feel like 100 should be the default.
Well, that's what I mean. Like
that's like your bottom line.
That's what I said at the beginning. Like that's even low.
Bare minimum. Like it is low. But let's remember that if you're currently at like 70, okay, so let's say 70 is your current like default. We're not thinking about it. 100 does seem like a long ways away, but with some tweaking, it is achievable. And I don't want you guys to feel discouraged and like, oh, my number is so low, I'm never going to ever get to 100. Don't say that. We have the same mindset with exercise, right? We don't go from 0 minutes to 60 minutes every day. We can do 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Build the habits. Start small. Start by making sure all your main meals have a protein source. That's pretty easy, right? You've got 3 chances and make it happen most of the time. Okay. Once it's happening, add your snacks and then look at the big picture and be like, you know what? I'm pretty close now. And then start thinking of ways that you can add a little bit more. Once you get comfortable, a little bit more. We've been probably prioritizing protein for, I don't know. I don't remember a time when I didn't. So yeah, it's been a while.
There's tons of resources out there. Like there's so many people on the internet that post what they eat and recipes and how to increase protein. I try to share things all the time. So like there's resources out there. You're just going to have to put some effort into it.
A little bit.
And that's fine. Or like I said, hire a coach for a few months, let them do the mathing of your protein and you work on actually implementing what they tell you. But yeah, 100 should be your bare minimum. Like I said, like there's no adult there's no reason we should be eating less than 100 grams of protein a day. And if that's where you're at currently, now you have a new goal to work towards.
Yeah. So I hope we've enlightened you a little bit about protein. I was saying to Jill before we started recording, our protein episodes tend to do really well. It's a hot topic. People love to talk about it. So let us know what you think. Maybe give us, why don't you give us your favorite way to get extra protein that maybe we miss? Because we're always looking for ways to add that in. So
yeah. Or if you're struggling with protein currently and you want us to like help you work through it, send us a DM on the podcast account at Lattes and Lifting. Let us know at Lattes and Lifting podcast, forgot a word in there. Let us know like, hey, I'm struggling with my protein intake. And maybe we'll do an episode where we literally like break down your week of food and give you some tweaks and changes. But you're going to have to make the effort to reach out to us if you want us to freely help with your nutrition.
Yeah, we are always happy to answer your specific questions. It actually makes building an episode really easy for us. And it's free coaching for you. So keep them coming. Keep the vibes and protein high. And if you need to find me, it's at JLike Fitness on all the socials.
Yep. Like I said, podcast is at Lattes and Lifting Podcast. As always, there's a link in our bio with direct links to everywhere we stream our podcast. And if you need me, it's at coachjill.april on TikTok and Instagram. And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.